Did you know that 40% of Americans would struggle to come up with $400 for an unexpected expense? This is a startling fact that underscores the necessity of having an emergency fund. The concept of an emergency fund is simple, yet vital. It's a stash of money set aside to cover the financial surprises that life throws your way. These unexpected events can be stressful, and without a financial safety net, they can lead to debt and put you in a precarious position. An emergency fund is your buffer against the unexpected. It could be anything from an unexpected medical bill, a sudden job loss, or an urgent home or car repair. It's not just about having money in the bank. It's about financial security, peace of mind. It's about knowing that you've got a plan to handle whatever comes your way. Yet, despite its importance, many people overlook this crucial aspect of financial planning. The consequences of not having an emergency fund can be severe. Without it, you might find yourself relying on credit cards or loans to cover unexpected costs, leading to a cycle of debt that can be hard to break free from. Financial stress is another consequence of not having an emergency fund. Money worries can lead to sleepless nights, strained relationships, and can affect your physical and mental health. It's not just about the dollars and cents, it's about the impact on your overall well-being. Moreover, not having an emergency fund means you're not prepared to handle unexpected costs. This can put you in a difficult situation when life throws you a curveball. It's not a question of if these expenses will arise, but when. Creating an emergency fund might seem daunting initially, but with a proper plan, it's achievable. It's not about the size of the fund, but about starting somewhere and growing it gradually. It's about making small, consistent steps towards a larger goal. Remember to subscribe to New Way Finance Academy and turn on notifications to stay updated. We'll be sharing practical tips and strategies on how to build your emergency fund in the coming videos. Stay tuned. The first step to building an emergency fund is understanding your expenses. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty of your financial life. Your expenses. These are essentially the money you spend to live your life, and they come in various forms. Some are as predictable as the sunrise, like your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and perhaps that gym membership you signed up for at the start of the year. But expenses aren't just about the predictable. They're also about the unexpected, the irregular, and the inevitable. Let's explore this a bit. Imagine you drive a car. It's a nifty little machine that gets you from point A to point B. But every so often it needs a bit of TLC, perhaps an oil change or new tires. These are irregular expenses, but they're inevitable. They might not happen every month, but when they do, they can put a dent in your wallet if you're not prepared. Another type of irregular but inevitable expense is your annual insurance premium. Whether it's for your health, your home, or your car, these premiums aren't monthly expenditures, but they're certainly part of your financial landscape. So what's the point of this deep dive into your expenses? Well, it's simple. The more you understand about your expenses, the better you can plan for them. And that's where an emergency fund comes into play. An emergency fund is like a financial safety net. It's there to catch you when life throws a curveball your way. But to know how big and strong that safety net needs to be, you need to understand your expenses. So, take some time to list out your monthly expenses, both the predictable and the irregular ones. Don't forget to include those little discretionary spends too, like your morning coffee or that monthly movie night. Once you've got a clear picture of your expenses, you'll know how much you need to save to keep you afloat in case of an emergency. Understanding your expenses gives you a clear picture of how much you need to save in your emergency fund. With a clear understanding of your expenses, you can now set a savings goal. The general rule of thumb is to aim for 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in your emergency fund. This cushion can make all the difference if you're faced with a sudden job loss, unexpected medical bills, or other unforeseen expenses. However, it's important to remember that this is a guideline, not a hard rule. Your personal circumstances can greatly influence the amount you should aim to save. For instance, if you're the sole income earner in your household, or if your job stability is uncertain, you might want to aim for a larger safety net, possibly even up to 9 months or a year's worth of expenses. Remember, the goal here isn't to create a mountain of money overnight. It's about steady, consistent saving. Setting a savings goal gives you a target to work towards, making the task less daunting. Now that you have a savings goal, it's time to create a budget. A budget is your financial roadmap, guiding you towards your desired destination, in this case, a healthy emergency fund. To create a budget that includes a line for saving towards your emergency fund, start by listing down all your income sources. This could be your salary, any side hustles, or passive income streams. Next, list down all your expenses. This should include fixed expenses like rent or mortgage payments, utility bills, and subscriptions, as well as variable expenses like groceries, entertainment, and personal care. Once you have a comprehensive view of your income and expenses, it's time to allocate portions of your income towards your expenses, savings, and your emergency fund. Aim to save at least 20% of your income towards your emergency fund. If that seems too steep, start with what you can and gradually increase your contributions as your financial situation improves. Now, let's talk about different budgeting methods. There's the traditional method where you allocate specific amounts to different categories like rent, food, and entertainment. There's also the envelope method, where you physically allocate cash into different envelopes for each expense category. Then there's the zero-based budgeting method, where every dollar of income is assigned a job, be it for expenses, savings, or investments. In the digital age, there are also numerous budgeting tools and apps available that can make managing your budget a breeze. Apps like Mint, You Need a Budget, and Personal Capital offer features like expense tracking, goal setting, and financial reports to help you stay on top of your finances. Remember, the best budgeting method or tool is the one that works best for you. It should align with your lifestyle, financial goals, and personal preferences. Creating a budget might seem daunting at first, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. It helps you make informed financial decisions and keeps you accountable. A budget is not a restriction, but a plan that empowers you to take control of your finances. Automation is a powerful tool in building your emergency fund. It's like having a personal finance assistant working around the clock to secure your financial future. By setting up automatic transfers into your savings account, you're not only simplifying the process, but also ensuring consistency in your savings habit. Think of it this way. It's payday, and you've got your paycheck in hand. Before you even get the chance to think about what you could spend it on, a portion of it is whisked away into your savings account. This is the beauty of automation. It reduces the temptation to spend because the money is out of sight, and therefore, out of mind. Furthermore, by saving immediately after receiving income, you're harnessing the power of a concept called paying yourself first. This method prioritizes your financial security over all other expenses. It's a smart, proactive approach to building your emergency fund. Automating your savings takes the decision out of your hands, making saving effortless. Building an emergency fund isn't a set-and-forget task. It requires regular reviews and adjustments. Setting up your emergency fund is a continuous journey, not a one-time event. It's like tending a garden. You don't just plant the seeds and walk away. You have to nurture it, water it, prune it when necessary, and shield it from pests. In the same way, your emergency fund needs your attention, your care, and your patience. The first aspect of this care routine is reviewing your budget and savings goal regularly. Life is full of surprises, and not all of them are pleasant. You may experience a job loss, a significant increase or decrease in income, or even a sudden large expense. All of these events can affect your ability to save. Thus, it's crucial to revisit your budget and savings goal periodically, especially after significant life events. Remember, your budget is not carved in stone. It is a living, breathing entity that should change and adapt as your circumstances shift. So don't be afraid to make adjustments. If your income increases, consider boosting your savings rate. If you have a large, unexpected expense, don't beat yourself up. Instead, adjust your budget and savings goal accordingly. But how often should you review your budget and savings goal? While there's no hard and fast rule, a good practice is to do a review every 3 to 6 months. This frequency allows you to catch and correct any deviations early, but it's not so frequent that it becomes a chore. Another crucial aspect of this care routine is adjusting your plan as needed to stay on track. If you find that you're consistently falling short of your savings goal, it may be time to reassess your budget or look for ways to increase your income. On the other hand, if you're consistently exceeding your goal, you might want to consider increasing it. Regular reviews ensure that your plan stays relevant and effective, helping you build your emergency fund successfully. Remember, the goal is not just to build an emergency fund, but to build an emergency fund that works for you. And for that, review and adjustment are key.